Welcome to Mama's Playground. This is Darlene.
And this is Monica.
Happy Wednesday. Let me tell you, like coming here and doing this, it helps us in so many ways because we come up with the topics, mostly things that we're going through. And then in the midst of researching and getting more information about it, we learn.
And it feels good to come to a dedicated spot.
So today we were talking last week about friendships, midlife friendships. And now we're going to talk about our kids' friendships. This is a stage where, they're in first grade, kinder, second grade, and they're making, they spend most of the time at school. And what do they have at school? 23, 24 kids feeding them information. And we're raising our kids, but in a way, when they're at school, they're not only learning academics, but they're also developing new things.
Behavioral patterns.
Yeah. There's more emotions. I don't know if it's mostly a girl thing, but a lot of my girlfriend this and my friend that, and my friend said that I like that boy. And like, she just started talking about the word crush. And how often does it happen to you that your kids say something and you're like, where did you get that from? Who told you about this? And words that you're not ready to talk about. Yeah.
All the time. And I have two boys. So I have a 5-year-old and I have an 8-year-old. And honestly, I have been seeing like certain behavioral like patterns that I'm like, where are they learning this from? This is not from the household, and nobody in their family talks like that or says this or does that. And they are going through it and they're going at it with each other on top of that. I mean, they're siblings. So I have a sibling. I know what it is to fight with them when we were younger. The words that they're saying, the little attitude that they're getting. And at some point I even said, you know what? If you guys continue behaving like this, I'm going to go to your school. I'm going to go talk to your teachers and I'm going to find out who is the one that's influencing you guys like this, because I don't teach you like this. Nobody in your family teaches you like this. And it's a red flag to me. And lo and behold, there is stuff going on at school, so which I'll jump into afterwards. So
I remember there was a week in March where we were in the process of recording the promos for the podcast and the new cover and just
everything.
We were both going through emotionally. I was a mess, not sad, but I was just overwhelmed because it was just a week where I kept getting like this information, and we had field day. So when you're around, the other kids and you're listening to conversations, and then now they're in their stage where they want to talk on the phone. Can I call my friend? And it used to be like, no, you can. And now, because now for everything, there's what do you call it? An explanation, right? She comes to me and she goes, Mom, when we're at school, we don't have much time to talk because then my teacher sends you a message that I'm talking too much. And it's true. So she said, okay, in snack time, we can't talk because we're eating. And then you pick me up and then I have homework and then this and that. So I really see my friends, but I can talk to them. So I'm like, okay, you can talk briefly, but it's in these conversations. And I encourage you to let the kids talk, but just stay nearby. The things that you hear, and that's when you're like, okay, give me my phone. And it's this constant monitoring that has to be going now. We have to be constantly, it's not a bubble. It's not that we're putting the kids in a bubble. It's about we're laying a foundation.
And there's certain things that you don't want in your household. Yeah. And there's certain ways of talking and certain things of behavioral that you don't, teach them, and you try to teach them one way, but then they go to school and unfortunately, there's other kids there. You don't know what their situation is at home or their upbringing or so on. And they're getting certain things that you don't want to accept in your household. And I know for me, for instance, I'm not going to go into names and stuff like that, but
this is what was going on the same week that I was just saying.
We were going through the same exact thing.
I remember telling you, it was like a Thursday night. And I'm like, this is happening. And you go, are you kidding me? I have a meeting at school because this is happening.
There's a little kid in my boys' school with my eldest that he's very rambunctious. He's very, he's always in trouble because he's always up to like something, And so, my oldest has been hanging out with him. And I didn't say I prohibit him. They're small. They're still, 8 years old. But again, I have to be, 4 eyes looking to see what's going on. And this little boy has always had issues prior with other boys as well in the school, and other kids in the school, not just the boys, the other kids in the school. And I have another mom friend that said, I had this issue with that little boy and my son back in summer camp back here. Like I've just heard so many times
About
his
the same
name
boy.
and the same thing. And I've seen him myself because I go to a lot of the volunteer stuff, with my son. And again, I'm very open to, I am not judgmental because it's a child. So I'm always like, okay, what's going on? Maybe something's going on at home, or what, maybe he's just mischievous. And I do know that maybe he comes from a family where his parents are not together. So he's got two different upbringings coming on. The mom works one way, the dad works the other. They're not meeting in the middle, And
But
again,
still, your child doesn't have to be raised by that situation. And I don't want to say raised, but influenced by that either, because that's...
but unfortunately, and I've seen it, two adults don't get on the same page and the child is the one that's affected, right? So this is what I'm putting it to. I don't know if that's the case or not. I just know that I always hear the name, like, oh, this person is in trouble again. This person was at the office. This person was next to the teacher today all day because this person did this. And yet my son is hanging out with him. So I was seeing like this kind of like rebellious attitude in my son when he comes home and certain things. And then he also started opening up to me about certain things that were happening in school.
But that's great that he is opening.
Yeah. He told me, he's like, Mom, so-and-so asked me to go get this for him and like bring it to him. And I was like, okay, give me 1 second. Like, what do you mean? Like, why couldn't he get it
How
himself?
many times though?
But it's all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, it's like, oh, do this and you do this, and very kind of bossy. And I said to my son,
That sounds like what Luna does to me, by the way.
well, kids are bossy, But I was just like, I told my son, I was like, listen, it's like you have to put your foot down sometimes too, because you need to be able to also say, hey, you go do your own thing. Like, I don't need to do that for you. You go do it. I go, because what's going to end up happening is this little boy is going to see a pattern in you and your other friend that's also very docile and like super sweet. He's going to see this pattern. He's going to say, oh, this is easy, man. I've got these two kids that do everything that I say. You know what I mean? Like, if I get mad at them, they still want to be my friend. So I'm going to like threaten them with like, oh, we're not friends anymore, so that they could feel bad, And I said, no, we have to put a stop to this. So I called the other mom that had issues in the past. She told me her thing. She's like, oh, I didn't realize that it was still going on. And I was like, well, now it's happening on my end. I'm hearing it more on my end. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call the teacher. I'm just going to bring it to her attention. I'm not going to make a big fuss about it. I'm not going to tell my son he cannot hang out with him, but I am going to talk to him more and tell him to be a little bit more aware of the situation and to be able to put his foot down, and he needs to be a little stronger and so on, and to open his eyes to see if this kid is really his friend, and things that we are trying to teach them now as little. And I spoke to the teacher. I told her, she said, you're not the first mom. There's been many parents
Complaining about the same kid.
The same kid.
Okay, so now they need... what do the schools do?
So she's like, unfortunately, we are trying to kind of like remedy the situation with, he sits next to me all the time. Now when he goes out to recess, it's like he's not having recess as much. He'll go to the principal's office if he's behaving bad. And let me tell you something. Somebody else might be like, who cares? I do feel bad. I know who the kid is. I think he's a kid, and I feel bad because it's like, but I'm not his mom. And at the same time, I have to protect my kid, So one of the other moms says like, oh no, I cut it off completely. Like, that's it. I won't talk to the mom. I don't want him hanging out with the kid. And there's a part of me that feels bad, but there's a bigger side of me that says I'm here to defend my kid. You know what I mean? And I'm here to look out for my child.
That's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Probably in 2 years, they're not even going to be in the same school. So I'm not trying to be harsh, but each parent has a lot of responsibility to be getting more responsibility from other person's children.
You're absolutely right. You're right. You're right.
So, and look, I was reading this. So studies show friendships strongly influence kids' behavior, confidence, and academics during elementary and middle school. So when they get to, I'm so scared of middle school. When they get there, they're already big kids. This is the time when they're in elementary where we have to, again, like I said, it's not about putting them in a bubble, because I question myself. Yeah. I'm like, am I trying to put her in a bubble? And I'm like, no, I'm laying a foundation. She's still a kid.
Yeah.
But what's going on this side is she has friends that are a little bit more advanced in the technology aspect with us. For example, if she's gonna sit at the table, no iPad, no nothing. If she during the week, which she hardly ever asks for the iPad. Lately, she's been asking for the phone to call her friends. And this is the time to kind of teach her how it's going to be. Because if not, they're going to be with the phone at 13 and locking themselves in the room. And hopefully we're going to work hard for, for that to be controlled, because these girls, they're 7, 8 years old, and they're in Roblox. The other day, so they opened this chat. It's 3 girls, and I let Luna be part of it, and I was listening. One girl goes to the other one. So why do you want to go to this store? I think she was like, oh, I want to go to Target. Why do you want to go? And the other one goes, it's none of your business.
Yeah, with an attitude.
I'm in the car with my husband, and Luna's having this FaceTime conversation. And we both turn around, and I go, who said that?
Yeah.
I find out who she is. It's a girl that's also... you don't want to talk about bad vibes. These are kids, but I'm talking about behavioral, the word bullying, past issues when this girl was just in kindergarten with another girl, which is something that I heard. And I'm like, oh, come on, that can happen. I've seen her do conversations to Luna, which I didn't like. And then this phone conversation, you give them the benefit. You're like, come on.
It's a child.
It's a child.
Yeah,
but then when she goes, it's none of your business. If my daughter were to answer to me like that, she's gonna hear me.
Yeah,
she's gonna hear me, and she's gonna feel it. But she's gonna feel the chancleta. That's what they used to do with us, chancleta. But right there, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. And then one of the other friends, she's even in the field day, she was putting lipstick on. I'm like, she's 8. She's 8.
Lip gloss or lipstick?
Okay. We're talking about color, stay, Revlon, brown lipstick. Okay. Not the little gloss that is shiny. No, lipstick. And then just with the whole conversation of Roblox, and they're, let's share screens. And why don't we invite now this boy to come in the chat? I'm like, nope. She got frustrated. Like, Luna, I said, that's it. No more. You can talk maybe on the weekend, like for 5 minutes next to me. I don't want, again, here we go. It's not about the bubble. It's about protecting my child and doing it now rather than later.
Yeah.
And it's just one thing after the other. And she, we had this conversation at school, and this girl was talking about the crush and this. And I'm like, what? So yeah, it's just a lot of new information, and we as parents should be monitoring. And the issue that I see with this other girl is the probably lack of monitoring. Because then she's calling my daughter on my phone at 7 a.m. when we're getting ready to go to school. 3 o'clock, I guess, when she gets her iPad or her cell phone back after school. At 5 o'clock, at 7, at 9 p.m. I'm like, where are the parents? Why do we have this 7, 8-year-old girl calling my phone to talk to my daughter 8 times a day?
Yeah.
So I'm the one answering, and I'm like, she's doing IXL, she's in tennis class. Then out of the blue, the other night, they sent a YouTube video. Obviously, I'm going to check the video before I show Luna. Speechless. It was this animation, very weird looking animation. I'm going to show it to you in a little bit. And then it's like these women showing up to pick up their kids at school, but the women have like big boobs. Like the boobs all the way up
with the
to
cleavage
here,
showing,
all like blonde, and the way they were talking, and then they pick up the kids and they get in the car, and the moms and the kids, again, the mom with the big boobs, and they're like, let's do TikTok videos, and this is how you do it. And then they show like the 3 families doing the TikTok videos. I stopped watching. My friend did see the whole thing, and she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
These girls are sending these weird videos. So obviously I didn't show her. And then I'm thinking, should I talk to the mom, or should I just leave it at that? What do we do in these situations?
And it depends, because you're coming into a thing where it might not be so reciprocal, right? Like there's people that will defend their child, and I've seen this at all costs. Meaning, my kid did something bad, I don't care. I'm gonna defend my kid. My kid hit your kid, I don't care. My kid must have hit your kid because your kid did something. They're always going to come to bat for their kid. Yeah. Now, I am not that mom. Okay. I am the type of mom that I try to assess the situation. And if my kid is wrong, my kid is wrong. And I'm going to tell my kid,
absolutely.
you are wrong. You better go apologize. And I don't ever want to see you do that again. You're coming into the fact, Darlene, that if you go ahead and you do that, you have two things that can come out of this. And it's either the mom that is not going to accept what you're saying, and she's going to make it seem like, you know, either Luna's at fault or whatever, or the mom that's going to be reciprocal and say, okay, tell me more. What's going on? I didn't know that. And I apologize. Maybe I was, I'm sorry. I have a really hectic schedule. I've been working. I'm going to monitor it more. I apologize, Darlene, that she's been interrupting you. It's going to be two things. It's going to be one that gets defensive, or the one that's going to say, okay, you know what, let me work on it. And I apologize. I didn't realize that, she's doing this.
You know what? I just made a decision. Honestly, it's not my problem, because,
or is it worth it?
Because
for you?
you know what? Luna doesn't have my phone. I'm the one receiving the messages. I think I was actually also upset at the fact that they let a child be on the phone or
All
the
day.
iPad. I think she uses both all day from
Yeah.
on the way to school, as soon as you pick them up at school. And this is another thing. It could be cultural. I don't know. I mean, well, there's a couple of girls and they're not all from the same country. But another thing that we have here in Florida is we have these classrooms where you have so many different cultures.
Yeah.
It's not like I grew up, we were all Puertorriqueños, o sea, same
kind of
everything,
upbringing,
right?
yeah.
Same upbringing. But here we have, from everywhere. We have, Japan, we have Brazil, we have Peru, we have Venezuela, we have Colombian, we have Cuban, we have Indian. So you have all of this. It's
Melting
a
pot.
beautiful thing. But then there's things that, okay, we have to respect. Maybe that's not how I'm going to bring up my child, or just different thoughts, mentalities. And so Luna was asking me, Mom, am I not allowed to talk to her again? And I go, wait, we don't want to do that either. We just, I know it's a delicate subject.
At this point, you don't want to do that. But
You're
as
not
they
gonna
get
plan a play
older,
date. Yeah.
as they start getting older, if you start seeing, I would assume it's the age range too that we're in, because at this point we're like, okay, they're still like small. They still depend on us to take them everywhere. Like, we're going to be able to control certain things. But as they get older and they start getting into their teenage years, and you've got something of that going on, I have to think that at that point, and I mean, it's just hard, because that's why you set them up now, to kind of see who their friends are, and really to evaluate the situation and say, okay, open your eyes. Look at this kid that you're saying is your friend. Are they really your friend? Would they, in my case, make fun of you all the time if they're really your friend? Would they make you go do things for them all the time if they're really your friend, like bossing you around? Would they accidentally one day punch you in the stomach? Okay, they were playing. Okay, I get it. Okay, this is strike one. But I go, you have to, like for my kid, I was like, you have to open up and look at the whole scenario and say, wow, is this really my friend, or is this not my friend? And so, I don't know. I think it's something that if you don't monitor now, like you said, eventually when they're 12, 13, 14, 15, oh my God, that age, that is such a hard age, especially with girls.
Yeah.
And not that boys don't go through it, they do, but with girls, the cattiness, again, you don't want somebody influencing your child to be older than what they are.
Exactly. It's that friend that you feel that, and you see that it's too advanced. We're talking about one of Luna's friends, makeup, TV in the bedroom, a lot of Roblox.
And what she talks about and what she's probably looking at is not age appropriate.
Yeah. And we're talking about, this is one of the smartest kids, the one I'm talking about, and her grade, period. And I know for a fact, and she's beautiful, and I love the family, but a little bit too advanced for where I feel that Luna should be.
Correct.
And
like, she has time to get there.
And not advanced academically, because
No.
is in the same classroom, because it's an advanced classroom. I had to throw it there. It's not about that. It's about lifestyle, habits, language. It's
the way that that maybe the little girl moves, the way she dresses, like those are things that you have to look at. I remember when I was younger, and now obviously being a mom, I understand why my mom did the things that she does. And I always say that, like, you start to realize why your parents did all the things that they did. And it's like, when I was younger, I remember, hanging out with like, I had my group of girlfriends, and there was a point that there was like, back in the day, there was like the Daisy Dukes, right? The Daisy Dukes were the shorts that you're like, nalga is coming out like from the bottom. And I was like, I'm going to wear the little Daisy Dukes with the little crop top. And my mom was like, where do you think you're going? Like, where do you think you're going? Quítate eso ahora mismo. You know what I mean? Like, you are not going out of the house like that. Like, especially I was like 14, 13, to a party and this and that. Like, I get that. I get it. I just gotta say, I understand why, because you're just trying to protect your child.
Exactly.
You're trying to protect your kid.
I was explaining to Luna about the phone. Oh, because the day that this girl was just la estaba molestando. Like, oh, you have a crush on this boy, you have a crush on, and the boy that this girl's talking about is like Luna's brother. They've known each other since they were 3, and I always tell her, you're still in the same school. You take care of each other like siblings, Why start putting in this other girl like, oh, you have a crush, whatever. It's kid little arguments and stuff, and it happens. I'm not trying to be the most old-fashioned,
holy,
but it's just one thing leads to the other. I'm not saying you're not gonna be her friend, but we're gonna do play dates in the park, and I don't want you on the freaking phone.
Yeah.
But anyway, we become sort of another thing for us midlife moms to do right now. We become detectives.
Yes.
We become detectives.
I think we'll always be detectives as long as we're moms. I think it's forever that you are a parent, except until when your kids are like probably married and they have their own kids and all that, you become a detective. Especially at this age. Like, you want to know who they're hanging out with.
Yeah.
What they're talking about.
I mean,
who their parents
these are our babies, It's So we were, the phone thing that I was going to say earlier, we had this conversation with Luna. It was a great conversation. Let me tell you, kids listen. Even if you don't think they are listening. And at this stage of life, they better listen to you more than to the friends.
A peer.
We sat down with her the night that she was confused, all the emotions, the friend, the conversation. It was like a really odd day. And we sit with her at the end of the night, and we're explaining, sometimes your friends, can say something that doesn't make you feel right. Instead of being upset at the friend, try to talk to the friend and say, what you just said, it hurt my feelings. So again, they're kids. They might learn this when they're in their 30s, but it doesn't hurt for us as parents to try to put it, and she was listening. And I said, and that same friend that was probably mean to you today, if you see somebody being mean to her, you got to go help her. Always help who's the underdog. If you see somebody that, even if it's not your friend, if it's your friend doing it to somebody else, go to that somebody else and make sure that they're okay. It's not right when you hurt other people's feelings. And she's listening, and then we're talking about the phone. And I said, in our times, we didn't have a phone. We would go outside. We would play. It's different times. But now understand that this thing that's here, mommy and daddy, we use it for work. I use it also to plan your play dates. I talk to my friends. There's no reason for you to be talking to your friends. There's no reason for you to be going on video games, unless it's like Kidopia, the one that I've told you about, that is super educational. But you don't have to be texting with anybody. No, if you want to talk to one of your friends, you ask me, we'll do it a couple of minutes close by where I can hear what they're saying.
Pitching on that, I had to do the same thing with Jacob with both of them, with both my kids, because they're both in the stage, again, we've talked about this, Roblox. And then, some of their friends are able to get onto Roblox and they're able to be playing with their friends and all that. And I told them, no, like, I don't want that. Why, Mom? You never let me do anything. And I said, for what? I go, they're already obsessed with wanting to be on the TV and anything electronics, right? And I try to take that away from them. And then on top of that, knowing that they're doing Roblox, and then the possibility of them talking to other people, just the influence. I said, you know what? There's a lot of time for that. You're still young. You're still a child. There's no need to rush into the thing of wanting a phone and wanting to be on the phone all day long.
Yeah.
So there has to be boundaries. I'm a boundary parent. I don't want to take everything away from them. I don't want to be the mom also that's known for, like, my God, you don't let your kid do nothing.
Yeah, tampoco.
Like, at all. Like, I don't want to be that mom either. I want them to know that they can confide in me, they can talk to me, and so on. But I also know that I need to protect them, right? So with the thing of what you say about the friendships with kids, you do have to look and see who your kid's hanging out with. And if you see a temperament change and you start hearing one kid's name a little bit more than what you used to, and all of a sudden you're also seeing changes in them, you have to ask a question and say, why is it that every time I hear about this person's name, you're also acting a certain way? Like the behavioral patterns have changed.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And
you
it
as
could
a
be-
mom, no.
And
You
it
know.
could be good or bad. These are things that we always have to watch.
Of course.
When they come home from school or something, if they change, if they look sad, if they kind of so this is one thing that I found. I gotta go straight there because it was so interesting. Oh, by the way, the parent to parent conversation, I would have it if it's a good friend of Luna.
Of course, somebody closer.
If it's somebody close, it's like, come on, what's going on? Because we're taking care of each other. The kids are growing up together. When it's more acquaintances from classroom, it's okay. They're gonna see each other at school, but they're not gonna be talking too much at school. You find a way of limiting that connection the most that you can. I guess maybe next year they're not in the same classroom. But yeah, those parent conversations, I would have them with, let's say, with you.
Yeah.
If the kids were doing something with Nancy, if Ana Julia, which is Luna's best friend, if something like that happens. And I tell her, you're allowed to call my daughter anytime. When she's with you, she's also your daughter.
I say the same thing. That's the thing. But there's parents that do not like that. I've seen it. And I've even seen it with people close to me. If you say anything to their kid or you reprimand them in a way that even just to tell them, hey, like, don't do that, they might side eye you like, how are you talking to my kid like that? I've seen that. And it just really depends on the parent. That's why I feel like with friendships, in adult friendships, and then you have the kid friendships, with the adult friendships, you have to be able to say, hey, we have to be honest with each other. Like if you ever see my kid do something that you don't like, or you feel like, my kid, I don't know, please tell me, tell me what they did so that I can correct it, and not take shame in it. It's not like you're going to come and I'm not going to scold you for something that Luna did, I may come to you and say, Darlene, I need to talk to you. Luna said so-and-so to Noah, let's say, hey, can we let's address this so it doesn't happen again. But if you get mad at me for it, then what do we do? You get what I'm saying? Like you have to be open to hearing that your kid is also maybe not a saint sometimes.
Your kid can be, bullied. Let's do the word. It's crazy. Back in the day, the word bullying didn't exist.
It existed, but the word didn't
the
exist.
word didn't, the term. But your kid can be bullied, or your kid could be doing
bully.
that. And one way to know it's if you hear your child, also because nobody's child is perfect, talking bad about somebody, or that's another thing. You kind of like, don't talk bad about that friend. Just, I'm teaching her, if you have an issue with somebody, just try to talk to the person face to face. Don't be telling your other friend and your other friend. It's hard because at this age, and we all did it, it's like, oh, look what she said, la, 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 la. But, trying to...
And it's going to continue happening. It's just a matter of us, correcting
we do
it.
what we can.
And I think at this age of the kids that we have, like the age range that they're in, this is the crucial age of kind of like opening up that door and telling them, like stopping them in their tracks when they're mean to each other. I have to do it in my household between the two brothers because they're kids. And you saw it the other day when you came to my house. They're constantly either fighting. And when Luna's here, it's like I think they fight for attention for Luna. And so then one is like, hey, Luna. And then the other one's trying to get attention over here. And then Luna's kind of like in the middle, So, and then the other one's saying, I'm going to punch you. No, I'm going to punch you. And I'm like, what?
And she puts them both to sleep, by the way. You see Luna like, and Jacob and Nora like.
No, Jacob stayed asleep.
Oh, no, but he
Jacob
did.
was awake.
Hey,
Jacob stayed awake. So it was kind of like, I think they were all playing together. But again, the two brothers were trying to get the attention. Who's cooler? Who's better? Who does a better somersault flip on the freaking trampoline? Like this is the kid stuff. And then they're fighting with each other because I'm going to punch you. No, I'm going to do that. And then Luna, hey, I think they're fighting, and it's a constant thing. And I have to reprimand them and say, hey, no, like what you did is wrong. What you did is wrong. Go over there. Or you know what? I'm going to put you to sleep. Or you know what? Luna's going to go home. It's if we don't do it, who's going to do it?
Exactly.
So
we're detectives, we're child psychologists, sometimes couple psychologists too. It's a mess.
All of it.
So, okay, we can't control who their friends are. We're not going to say, no, you're not going to be friends with that person because she was mean to you. We're not going to do that. She's not going to stop being this girl's friend. But again, she had asked me, can I invite her to my birthday? And I'm like, nah, you have like 25 other good friends. No drama. No drama for mama, please.
Yeah.
So, okay, but there are things that we can control to shape like the environment. So one is you can control where they're going to hang out. For example, if it's a kid that is a mess and it's going to drive your insanity to off the wall, let's hang out at a park.
Yeah, not in my household. Yeah, enclosed walls.
Exactly. Know who you invite to your home. That's obvious. Build daily connection moments with your kids because we want them, and this starts now, that they can open up to us, that they can tell us, Mom, this person made me feel this, or I was finding out things about Luna through her friend because she would tell her mom like, oh, Luna was crying because this. And I go, why didn't she tell me? So this is something that I'm actually working on now. And when I said at the beginning of this episode that we do these research on topics that are very relevant to us, and then we learn.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful because, and I'm going to go over this.
This is all learning. No, I was going to say this is all a learning experience. As we go, again, we're not experts.
Yeah.
We're two moms. We're in it. We're in the mix of it. In everything that we're going through, trying to figure it out, and with like, less patience and less and
at the same time we have husbands too. Like, let's not go into the whole thing that, because nobody's relationship is perfect. Okay, so build daily connections like car rides. I love that 20-minute drive to drop off Luna or pick her up. I love those rides. Cooking, bedtime chats, we've talked about this.
I think that's the best time.
That's when they just like and they open up and you're like, you need to go to bed. But
you take advantage at this age because they don't want to go to bed usually when you tell them they have to go to bed. So they want to stay talking and they make any excuse to stay awake. So that's where I take advantage and ask questions. And that's when they want to keep talking and opening up,
The other day I was trying to put her to sleep. I always lay down with her and her eyes were wide open. And I'm like, okay, Luna, you need to go to bed because I still have things to do. And I try to explain to her, mommies and daddies don't go to bed at the same time you do. You got to go to bed early. And she was just wide awake. And I was like, okay, what are your thoughts? You're thinking about something. Yeah, Mom. And then she started talking about, she's always thinking about her friends. Okay. Luna's an only child right now. But she's so connected. Like, for her, friendships are so important. And that's why this is also a huge concern. Like, who's she talking to? Who's influencing her emotions, her thoughts, all of that. And she just started talking, and I'm like, wow. And I left the room and I'm like, oh, I love that.
Of course, because she feels more connected to her friendships. Yeah. And then all that influences her even more because she looks forward to spending time with that friend. And that friend might not be the best thing for her,
Exactly.
So,
and another thing that we do and that we can do as parents with them is like the role playing of, if your friend ever said this to you, what would that make you feel? Or kind of, you have to take the time and listen to them. And if they're not ready to talk, you have to respect that too. And then maybe like bring it up, like kind of like a game, and I don't know, finding a ways.
I know you're looking for something. Do I have like a second to say something that now that we were just talking about this? Okay, I'm just thinking. So it's funny that you say that. So with my 5-year-old, obviously he's in kindergarten. And I did start seeing, as he was coming home, I did start seeing that he was being even more like rebellious. He was getting super rebellious. He didn't want to do any homework whatsoever. I got a complaint from his teachers now saying something of like, I had a conference with a teacher saying that he was acting up, that he was not paying attention and so on. But like prior to this conference, I remember telling Benjamin, hey, something's up with Noah. Like, I feel it. I don't know what it is. Like, it's weird that one day I was taking him to school. As I was taking him, he's always a kid that wants to socialize and be with his friends. And as we were getting to Carline, he goes, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to be here. And I said, that's weird. It was a Friday. I remember it was a Friday.
How long ago was this?
This was probably like a month ago. 2 months, like a month and a half ago. And I know his teacher that had started with him was leaving. Like, there was a lot of little things that were like going on. So I said, okay. But it was weird to me as a mom and knowing my kid, because you know your kid, right? You know them. I said, something's up. And as I was taking him to school, the security guard opened up the door and I told the security guard, he's like, oh, Noah, come on, like, let's go. I'm going to take you to school, whatever. And he was like, with this face, like, like, you know, he didn't say anything because he's very like, como se dice, proud. And he's not going to say that in front of the security guard. But I told the security guard, no, he just didn't want to wake up today. Like, he didn't want to go to school. He's like, oh, he's probably just having a bad day. He's like, you know, and I was like, yeah, but it's just weird to me because he doesn't usually do that. He said, well, keep an eye on it. And if you see that it keeps going on, then, you know, obviously something must be up. So lo and behold, I'm just going to get to it. I did start seeing that he kept saying it more and more and more and more. So a new teacher came in. I had a conference with her. I can't remember, like it was not that long ago. And she's like, hey, listen, like Noah's not paying attention. Like he's just not focusing. He doesn't want to do his work. And then she's like, I have to tell him also, he wants to help this little girl that's next to him because she's like, you know, she's not reading too well and she's not doing well. And he always wants to give her the answers. And although that's very sweet of him, I keep telling him like, no. So I just like started pinpointing everything she was telling me, the way that he was behaving. And then I said, during this whole time, he keeps mentioning this one kid that I had not heard too much about. And he kept saying his name. He always hung out with this other one boy, but now there's this new boy that he had kept like talking about for like the past month, 2 months. But since he started talking about that kid, he started also saying he didn't want to go to school. Then he's also been acting up at home.
Wow.
And so I just started like connecting everything, right? And so in the conference, I say to the teacher, I don't know. I was like, he's very smart. He also gets very bored. I go, maybe you need to channel that energy another way. I'm not telling you to make him teacher's pet or anything like that, but maybe like use that to like feel, like make him feel that he's useful because he loves to feel that he's useful, right? And then I was like, also, who is so-and-so? And I bring up the name. And she's like, oh, and she like rolls her eyes and she's like, oh my God, him, like, oh. And I was like, well, I go, you know what I've noticed? And I told her, I was like, I've noticed that since he's been mentioning this name to me more often and that he's been saying he doesn't want to go to school. And now you're telling me he's acting up also in school. Like this little kid has also come up in all the conversations since this has been happening. And so she fills me in on the fact that this little kid is something else. You know what I mean? Like he's doesn't listen. He's always in his thing. And in that, I pulled Noah because he was there. I said, no, I want you to come over here. So-and-so, are you having issues with him? Because I don't know, something, you know, just tells me as a mom. Like, and then he says, well, the other day we were at the playground and I don't know what happened. And then he pushed me. And the teacher looks at me and goes, you didn't tell me that. And I was like, and you didn't tell me that either. And he's like, and he stayed kind of like quiet. And she goes, next time he does that to you, you need to like either like stop, come tell me, you know?
Or
she's like, what did
back.
you? She's like, what? No, well, yes, I will be like, defend yourself. But she, as a teacher, was like, you didn't push him, did you? What did you do when he did that? He's like, I didn't do anything. She's like, okay, good, because you know pushing back is not correct. That's what the teacher told him, right? And I was like, okay. So we started putting everything together, and just to cut a very long story short, he's still hanging out with the kid, but not so much. So the other day I see him in carpool and I said, hey, there's so-and-so. And he goes, yeah, whatever, mom. I'm not hanging out with him.
Oh my God, they're going to be best friends
He's
next
not my
year.
friend. Oh my God, for sure.
I bet you they're going to be best friends in first when he gets to first
But what
grade.
I'm saying is like something was going on.
Yeah.
And it's like if you don't become the detective, like you said, and you don't ask the questions and you don't open your eyes and like stop for a minute what you're doing. Because I know it's very easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of life and not realize those little details. When you notice something is off, fish for it, because there's always something. And it was that. And after that conference, he's been acting a lot better. The teacher says he's doing good. His grades are back up. You know what I mean? It was just something was going on, you know? So I just wanted to put it out there because I'm sure parents go through this all the time. And sometimes we just put it like, oh, they're having a bad day, you know, or whatever. It's so dumb. Like, okay, that's just kid stuff. But no, there could be something affecting them, you know?
Yeah, no, it's getting them to open. It's so important. And this, what I finally found, what I was looking for. One of the things that was saying that we can do as parents is not ask the question, how was your day?
Yes.
How many people ask,
heard that.
how was school? As soon as they get in the car, how's school? How was school? Or how was your day?
It shuts them
so
off.
when I read that, I'm like, wait, what do you mean I can't ask that? I ask that every day.
Yeah.
So I went online and I go, okay, what questions can you ask if you're not going to ask, how was your day?
Yeah.
You know, so I am going to go over them, and it's probably going to be the best part of this episode. Take notes, because I bet you every parent has this issue. especially the first week of school.
Yeah.
Did you make any friends? Da, da, da,
Yes.
da.
What's
Oh
your
my
name?
God.
This and that. You're like bombarding them with all these questions, and they literally just shut down.
Yeah.
They shut down.
So, okay, so I'm going to go over a list of questions. We're going to do this quick, don't worry, because it's a lot. So, questions that get them talking about their day. What was the best part of your day today? What was the funniest thing that happened today? Did anything surprise you today? What was something new you learned? What was the most interesting thing your teacher said? She loves her teachers, and she's always saying that her teacher is super funny. So, like, I'm going to be like, what did she do that was the funniest today?
Yeah, you got to switch the
Kind of
questions
like,
up.
yeah, find the question. So, and then questions about friends and social life. Read these.
This one, questions.
Yes.
Okay, so
I
it
am
says,
so ronca. My voice is like.
it says these reveal how they're interacting with others. So
Yep.
you could say, who did you sit with at lunch today?
I've asked her that.
I do ask that as well, and I bombard. Sometimes but I'm telling you, they shut down on me like, stop asking. What game did you play at recess? I asked that as well. So what did you do at recess today? What
Good
game?
job.
Because you know what? Sometimes they're playing these games and I'm just like, who invented that game? And like, why are you talking about these scary monsters and all this stuff? Like just weird stuff that I'm like, anyways. And then did anyone do something kind for you today? That's a good one.
Yeah.
Did you do something kind for someone else? Or who made you laugh the most today? Those are good questions.
See, those are good. And there's some more.
You want me to do it or you're ronca?
Yeah, go for it. Questions that encourage reflection.
Here you go.
So, this is great for building emotional intelligence. What was something that felt hard today? What made you feel proud today? Did anything frustrate you? What would you change about today if you could? When did you feel really happy today? Oh my, I love these.
Yeah.
I love these.
I mean,
questions.
I don't think I'd ask these questions like, all of them in a day.
No,
It's just, like,
obviously. No, and
sporadically.
another thing, they say just one a day.
Yeah.
Just one a day. Don't be like, hey, honey, we're going to go over a list of questions that I heard about in
Sit
Mama's
down.
Playground.
Yeah, this is another class for you.
So, okay. And then this one, imagination and creative questions.
Okay, so it says, kids often open up more when things feel playful, which is very true. Sometimes you have to do playing.
Yeah.
Even
like the role
homework.
playing, what I was explaining earlier. Yeah.
Even homework is like, let's make this a play thing so that they actually finish. If today was a movie, what would the title be? Oh, that's good. That'll have them like thinking of.
Oh, I like that one. I might do that one today.
It says, the next one is, what moment today deserves a gold medal? That's cute. That'd be like the Olympics. Like, what was the best part, If your teacher gave an award today, what would you win? Oh, that's a good one. I'd want to know. I'd want to know what my kids would say with that one. And what was today's plot twist? Well, if your kids are too small and they don't understand plot twist, it would be like, what was today's...
What made today
Different?
different?
Yeah,
What was
different.
a surprise for you?
Yeah.
Maybe that.
That's cool. And then you've got the connection questions, which you could read, which is great at dinner or bedtime.
Okay, so these would be what made you smile today? What's something you're looking forward to tomorrow? Did anything make you feel nervous or worried? What's something you wish I knew about your day? I like that
one.
I like that one. And then, okay, so, and regarding friendships, okay, because that's another one. She goes, Mom, can I be friends with this person? What do? We're not going to be like, no, you can't be friends with them. So one thing not to say is, I told you that friend was bad news.
Yeah.
That's something that we shouldn't say.
You know what? I could see that becoming like a catch-22. You say that, and then it makes them be a little bit more inclined to see why you're saying that.
Or they go to school saying, my mom said that I can be your friend. Because that's
Yes.
another one. Now
Yeah.
she's saying everything.
She repeats it.
She repeats everything that she
Mine too.
learned. She wants to talk about everything that she learned. Oh my God. In art class the other day, I get this message from her teacher saying, oh, the art teacher came complaining about Luna. They were playing with red paint, and she started telling the kids, you have Jesus Christ's blood in your hands.
And what was it? What was the? I mean, you could say. It was,
she's
not
very
bad.
creative. It's
Yeah.
not. She's associating the color with blood with Jesus because now she's obsessed with learning
Going
about
to church
Jesus,
and all
which
that.
I love that. But she said it, and I'm thinking, oh wait, what's your teacher's last name? The art? Oh, okay, yeah, she's not Christian. I
Yeah.
don't think with that last name. Anyway, so yeah, they say the craziest things. Why? I don't remember why I said that, but I had to throw it in there. That they repeat everything.
They repeat everything.
Yeah. So they'll be, my mom said we can be friends. So I try to, that's another one. I'm trying to teach her what we talk about here stays here.
Oh my, but it doesn't work. Not at this age. I don't think they understand. I mean, I think you have to keep telling them that,
Yeah.
but I think at this age they really just don't know how. Their innocence is just like they spill it.
Or they, you know,
know?
in my case, she went after the Super Bowl. That she went and she told the whole class and she imitated me that when Bad Bunny came out, I was acting like a savage animal on the floor. Because I was sitting on the floor and I was excited. And she goes to school and the teacher's like, well, your daughter just imitated you. And I'm like, really? So careful with what to say about their friends, because then she'll tell her friend will tell the parents, oh, Luna's mom is saying this. No,
it becomes a drama that you don't want. Mama drama.
I'm like, why? I'm in midlife and going through school drama. Come on. So what to say? It could be things like, how did that make you feel? What that friend did to you or said to you? What do you like about that friendship? I ask her that all the time when now she has a new friend, which she loves. And I'm like, what do you like about her friend? She's very nice. She's a good friend. And that's actually a friend that I really love. And her parents and us we click in how we want to raise our kids, how we are against cell phone use and the video games and all that at this age. So that's a adult friendship that I'm very happy with. The friends
and the kid. Which is great.
The parents
the
and
dynamics.
The kid, yeah. So another question that you can say about if your kid is having a problem with somebody, do you ever feel uncomfortable when you're with that friend? Kind of like getting them to talk a little bit. And the goal is to help kids learn to evaluate the friendships on their own.
Without you forcing.
Without you saying this person is this. It's more saying, how did that person make you feel?
Yeah.
And that way they can kind of start to understand who they want to keep around and process. Yeah. So anyway, that was my insight.
I think it's a good episode. There's a lot of good takeaways here, especially for parents that are listening.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we all go through these things. And again, we're learning, right? I mean, I've heard from parents that have older kids, like they're like, oh, you don't know. Wait till you get the bigger problems.
Yeah.
So right now, this is where we're at. It's, cuatro ojos at all times. You don't need to interrogate your child, but definitely be a detective. And you know when your kid, there's something going on and you need to see what is causing that. And it could be very well something that's happening in our own household. It could be very well, again, in school and with the kids that they're being influenced by.
Yeah, but and I know that there's many parents that don't have all the time that I feel that I am very fortunate to have around her. And they probably can't listen to everything that the kid is trying to say. They're busy. One day, Luna, I said, why aren't you playing with your toys, Mom? Because I'm always busy. Homework, now tennis, dance, plans with my friends. So sometimes we have to hit the brake a little bit and listen to what they have to say. And again, find these moments in the car, whenever they're ready to open up. Like I know you might be on a really important phone conversation, you finish that call, you finish that job, and then try to get back to where your kid was when he was trying to open up. And that list of questions, I'm going to pass it to you. If anybody wants, I'll pass it to them, because and it says one a day.
Yeah, no, now you're not going to bombard them with 20.
How was your day? I mean, no, that's the one that we don't want to do. What's the funniest thing that happened? What made you happy? No, like one a day. Yeah.
I've done that before. I think, you know what's a good takeaway from this? To maybe carve the time out and say, whatever your schedule is, and if you feel that maybe you're not being able to be as present, or fortunate enough to you work all day long and then you get home, and we understand that. Definitely we understand like not being able to have so much time, but maybe carving out, whether it's 15 minutes of your time, whether that be at night, in the daytime, or whatever time you have, whatever your schedule is, and say, okay, those 15 minutes I dedicate to just listening to my kid and kind of bonding, and that's it. So at least you start to get some information and you can see what's going on with your child,
Yeah, or even,
and not be surprised later.
Yeah, and even something that I just thought, even when because sometimes you go to restaurants and you see the kid with the iPad, the kid with the phone, the parents probably doing the same thing. Or and one way that if you feel that there could be something going on and you want your kid to talk, it's maybe we're gonna go to a restaurant and you go to a place that you know that he likes, but today it's no phone. And then we're all gonna play a question game. Each one is you're gonna ask a question to your mommy. You're gonna ask a question to your daddy.
Make it a game.
You have the boys.
You
make it a game. They can ask questions to each other and try to get that one question where you feel that your kid is gonna open up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's finding ways. I wanted to close with this. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, just that. That was my takeaway.
But, I like this. So, takeaway, parenting includes navigating friendships that you didn't choose. The kids are choosing them and they have all the right. You got to trust your instincts.
Yeah.
And you have to stay present, which is what we were talking about. And this is a beautiful closing thought that I want to read. So you're not trying to control who they meet. You're helping them become strong enough to stay themselves around anyone. So they can be themselves. They don't have to be, what their friends want them to be or talk the way their friends are talking. Be themselves, be happy with who they are. And that gives them, that self-esteem that they need.
And as they get older,
yeah.
which is the importance, that they stay true to who they are, no matter who's around them. And that is our takeaway.
Yes. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere.
All of it. All of it.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Wednesday.
Yep.
See you next Wednesday.
Yeah, I see you next week.
Oh, you didn't say that. You said see you next week and you didn't finish. So I said Wednesday. Anyways,
okay,
bye, guys.
Bye, guys.